Yes.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us this week. I'm Jay, and obviously
And
we have
Hussein.
Hussein with
Yep.
Staying Sane with Hussein. So thanks everybody for coming this week. So we've got a bunch of news items we've collected again. So
Mhm.
let's jump right in. So let me
Yep.
jump to my notes. So the first one, which I found rather amusing. So at the Republican National Convention held in Milwaukee last week, it was reported that the gay hookup app Grindr experienced an outage. So you can draw your own conclusions about what all these hypocritical conservative evangelicals clustered in one place, and suddenly Grindr goes down.
Mm.
And also staying in the U.S., so Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was invited by evangelical Christian speaker Mike Johnson to address a joint session of Congress. Protests, named the Day of Rage, by both Israelis and Palestinians ensued as a man charged with the ICJ for war crimes was invited by a Christian nationalist to address Congress to present the truth about our just war and gain support to suppress Palestinian rights. Some Democratic lawmakers, including Bernie Sanders, boycotted the speech, and the speaker warned no protest would be tolerated inside the building, and former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi said Netanyahu's visit was, quote, inappropriate. Regarding Bernie Sanders stated his policies in Gaza and the West Bank and his refusal to support a two-state solution should be roundly condemned. And this from a Jewish senator. Continuing on with his visit, on Tuesday, 200 Jewish American peace activists held a protest in the Capitol building against Netanyahu. Police eventually removed the protesters, all wearing T-shirts proclaiming "Not in our name," and and Jews say stop arming Israel. And in some of the videos, you can see Orthodox Jews are among the protesters that Netanyahu is there, and they're carrying Palestinian flags. Um, and Netanyahu, in his speech, referred to the protesters as Iran's useful idiots. So presumably he's inferring that the Jewish Orthodox protesters are also useful idiots. And the Democrat Rashida Tlaib, the first Palestinian American member of Congress, was seen holding a sign that said "War Criminal." Um, Now, Netanyahu did make one reasonable point, and quoting him, Gaza should have a civilian administration run by Palestinians who do not seek to destroy Israel. That's not too much to ask. Now, however, hearing his ample anti-Palestinian rhetoric over the decades, this is nothing but more of his rhetoric and something he doesn't really mean, especially as he made no reference to the prospect of an eventual two-state solution, as many Israelis have pointed out. Indeed, families of the hostages still held in Gaza condemned the speech while it was being broadcast. And one more from Israel. Today, the Israeli ministers authorized Netanyahu to retaliate against Hezbollah following the strike on the Israeli occupied Golan Heights last Saturday, which killed 12 children and teenagers from the Druze community. Now, some Israeli journalists who are against the war in Gaza have been publicly wondering why the Jews are upset over the killing of the Druze, but not so much over the Palestinian children. So, all right, over to you, Hussein.
Yep. Thank you so much. And I think to listen to some of the craziest news surrounding this religion, you should come to India. So we have something from India, which is from UP, the state of Uttar Pradesh, and that's regarding um, a Hindu pilgrimage where people will be going towards a temple, and that's called the Kanwar Yatra. That's what it's called. Yatra means the journey or the pilgrimage. So on that route, the state officials, they made an order, the chief minister's office, that is to display the owners' names of the eateries, the dabas or the restaurants and all such eateries, to display the proprietor of the shop, their QR code, and such details. And this has created a new issue here. And why this is causing an issue here is because usually there's a big talk of the town that is something related to the halal certification. UP is known for this state of UP is known for banning of products which is being labeled with halal. halal certified products. So that's a situation which is already present there. So apart from that, there are some individuals who try to sell their food items into through these eateries by displaying Hindu names, Hindu boards, and everything which is Hindu outside. But within that, there will be Muslims. So this is what they do. So it's a kind of masquerading as something like something that is facilitating the pilgrimage, and they are trying to woo the customers. So that's how they were doing it. So this time, as a policy change, they made this rule. I know people will be thinking what all crazy things are going on in this world, but this is what is happening here, and this became a huge debate over here. And now the things are not yet settled. It's still going ongoing that way itself, and there's a debate whether to support that or whether to oppose that. And I'm of the opinion that this is something that was invited by the halal certification, that kind of a move that was existing in this country and all over the world. This halal certification, which was indirectly or directly supporting the businesses, where the Muslims will be able to sell more, and they are getting a more visibility that I am Muslim. That's a when you see that it is halal, that indirectly says that okay, this is a shop owner. The shop owner is a Muslim. So this is what is signaling by the word halal, and the names are in Arabic and all. So secularization, when we speak about that, it is very important that we have to keep all facilities which should be seen as secular locations, like whether it be a restaurant and all. If one party brings in religion into that, it gives a gateway. It opens a gate of all other religions to come and play, and there all the nasty games of religion will be overpowering in that arena. And that's what we are seeing right now here, and this debate is ongoing, and I think this is causing enough damage to the secular fabric, and it will be causing more and more radicalization as well. So this is what is going on here. And as usual, who will be causing the more damage in using this issue is, of course, the wokes, who will be siding with the halal certified or the halal certifications and other things, and they are only opposing the Hindu side, and that is creating the bigger problem. So I just wanted to mention this news, which is almost a week old now, but it is worth noting. Yeah, this is one news from here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guess
And
we're
after
waiting for
that,
you.
we can come to another news, which is from my local place afterwards. We can, after listening to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So me next. I noticed while you were talking, we were both seem to be cutting in and out. My signal was dropping a little bit. You were cutting in and a little bit. I don't know if it's my signal or your signal. We're having a storm here, so the storm here might be interfering with my signal. So I do apologize to
Here
our
also a
viewers.
storm is going on
Yeah, so
outside.
we both have storms going on, so our
Yeah.
signal seems to be a little jittery, so we do apologize for that. It's degrading our signals. So okay, so my next story. So it was announced that in the United Kingdom, four mosques which hosted an Islamist extremist preacher are being investigated by the charity watchdog. The preacher has called for apostates who denounce Islam to be killed, has said Jews and Christians cannot be our friends, and defended the use of sex slaves by Muslims. His remarks prompted calls from the government's extremism advisor for the preacher to be banned from entering in the future for the sake of public safety. And all four of the mosques are registered with the Charity Commission, meaning they enjoy tax breaks and reputational advantages, which is why they're now under investigation. Staying in Europe, those of you who've been paying attention to the news have probably seen the Christians who are losing their mind over the Olympic ceremony and what they're terming was a mockery of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. But people who have some knowledge of art history and the classics have pointed out that its resemblance to a painting of the gods of Olympus called the Feast of the Gods. It was a 17th century painting that shows the gods crowded around a long table with the center is Apollo. So this is not a mockery of the Last Supper. This is a bacchanalian feast of the gods from and it was supposed to be the game started in ancient Greece. This is a tribute to Olympus. So that's what that was about. Um, Also, it came out in the news today that the architect of the United States Evangelical Christian Right Project 2025, Kevin Roberts, has close ties to Opus Dei, the extremist Catholic
Mm.
right-wing secret group. So no surprise that somebody like that with Project 2025 is deeply religious. So that did not come as a shock. So back to you, Hussein.
Yeah, I would like to mention here a news which is so local to me, that is from my own city. And that's regarding a group of children who came up with a strange a request for, or with a protest for getting a separate room for prayer, Muslim students in a Christian management college, where they were allowed to pray wherever they want. There is no such restrictions which is present even when they are making this protest. But even then, they have a separate mosque which is nearby, a masjid. They are not allowed to enter there because women are not allowed to enter in a masjid, in that masjid, particular masjid, but only the boys are let to go there, and they used to pray. But for the girls, it was not allowed. So they wanted a separate room, and for that they were usually using separate facilities in their classrooms or wherever they find a place. So recently, this became a big issue. They started raising requests, or they started protesting for separate facility, a kind of prayer room. That's what they were asking to the Christian management, and they opposed to that. And now it is becoming a big issue here. As usual, all other parties, especially the Christian side and the Hindu side and all other sides, are talking against them. And now the victim card that is being taken out by the Muslim side, and now it's a big talk here. And now you can imagine where that can go. But the positive impact of this issue is that more and more people are now realizing the problems within Islam and within the Muslim community, how they simply raise issues whereby they just try to undermine the secular fabric, and they are trying to convert every secular institution, secular locations where prayer or where the ideals of the religion are not, or very less spoken, is made into a great subject where it is being made a pronounced subject. And now that is what is happening here. And now apart from that, it also shows another aspect, that is, they are not questioning the masjid, where the girls are not, why the girls are not allowed to pray in the masjid. They are not questioning that. They are not even going there and asking them to let us, or let them pray inside the masjid. They are not asking them, but instead they are asking the Christian this authorities here, that is the college authorities, to give, or to allow them a separate place, which again shows exactly what is going on in the West. That is, those people who are in the Arab countries, like the MENA region, from the countries like Iraq, Yemen, Syria, and all other places, where they are not allowed to speak against their regime, whether it be Islamic or whether it be Shia or Sunni or whatever it be. Even from Saudi Arabia, they are not. Um, they can't ask something against, speak against their rules. And what they do is that they just flee to the neighboring countries, like the European countries, where they can raise their voices using the democratic situations which is prevailing over there. And after that, what they are asking is not something which is giving them more chances for retaining the democracy, but they are again asking for those religious rules from which they were escaping from. So it's going on in a circle. So exactly that we could see in my city, in this local town, that's something which is becoming a big topic here for a debate. And maybe I wish the people will be able to realize the issues surrounding this, and will be an eye opener to them, how this religion is playing a nasty role in radicalizing the society, and even damaging the secular fabric. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned the Hindus and the Christians, obviously, and there's the Sikhs, the Jains. Do you know off the top of your head what the demographic breakdown is in India? Like Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, Muslims?
Um,
Any idea?
yeah, generally, if we look at the demographics in a religion-wise, Hindus belong to almost 80%, roughly 80% of them are Hindus in India as a whole. Okay, I'm speaking, and for Muslims, it's around 20%. So it's not a minority as we speak. Because if we are looking for minority, then the Jains are the minority, atheists are the minority. Then we have many
What
other
about
people.
the Sikhs? The Sikhs
Yeah,
are
they are
they
also coming under less than 5% or so. That's it.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when
So the Muslims are the second majority, not behind the
second,
Sikhs. Yeah,
not
okay.
not just the second majority. In some states, Muslims are the
They are the
majority.
majority.
Yeah, and Hindus are even lesser than that. And when it comes to my state where I'm staying, it's almost one third of the population, the Muslims and Christians and the Hindus. So it's equal in every sense. So now you can imagine how this goes. You were asking me why, when we were initiating our meeting, you were listening to the azan which is going on here,
Yeah.
the prayer call, and you were asking why, what the hell is going on there. Even when you are staying in a Hindu country, you can still hear the azan. That's not going to happen this way in our country, in our state, because that's another topic which we should discuss, like how the Hindus handle all these things. Because I would say India will be the only place on this earth where the Islamic terrorism and Islamic radicalization will be controlled in the most effective manner. That's what I would say. We can have a debate over that in the future. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
interesting. So, I
Yeah.
read on a BBC article like 10 years ago, something like that, that I think India is like one of the most diverse countries in the world. There's something like 7 to 900 dialects in India
Mm.
that the contiguous state of India itself is not really homogenous like, India. Like there's just so many different
Yeah.
languages and traditions and so
It's
it's
like
quite
United
interesting.
States of India.
Yeah, I've never heard that before, but yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Any more news topics or back to me?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got one more. And today it was announced in Australia, a Muslim mother has become the first to be jailed under a new law prohibiting forced marriages after her daughter was murdered by her husband within 6 weeks of her marriage. So it's nice to see that Australia has brought in a law to fight this kind of underage forced marriage and is doing something about it. So congratulations, Australia, for doing that and holding this mother accountable
Yeah.
for the tragedy that happened to her daughter. Unfortunately, yes, she's suffered the loss of a daughter, but she needs to be held responsible for forcing this situation. So,
Mm.
okay.
Yes.
Anything else on your side?
I think we missed something from Germany. That is,
Ah,
Germany shuts down the Blue Mosque and others over alleged Hezbollah links. That's one news which came in. And as usual, Hezbollah, the mosque was indirectly promoting or directly promoting in the guise of charity and other Islamic studies. They were promoting the terrorist ideals of Hezbollah, and they were countered, and that mosque is now being closed. And similarly, I think we mentioned about it. That is how the Anjem Chowdhury was arrested in the UK for charges against him, was something like promotion of terrorism. That too for a proscribed organization. That's what is against him. So these are the things which are going on in the Europe from UK, Germany, and yeah, that's something
okay,
which we can just brush it up.
okay.
Yeah.
And just one last point from me. So today's episode of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, his news report, his news special. As those of you who watched Last Week Tonight, he's usually has 3 or 4 segments, but there's always one main segment. The main segment last night was on the West Bank, and I've
Mm.
taken two quotes from that I would like to share. Let me just find my PowerPoint so I can share this with you. So the first quote was that a former Mossad chief has has admitted that Israel is an apartheid state. But the more damning quote comes from a retired Israeli general who
Mm,
says that the Israeli army and the IDF and what's going on in the West Bank, they are beginning to be a partner in war crimes. Now, these are coming from senior people in the UK, sorry, in the Israeli government, the head of the former head of the Mossad, an Israeli general, openly admitting that there are war crimes going on in the West Bank, that there is an apartheid state.
mm.
So if you haven't seen it, if you can access it on YouTube, I would highly recommend watching it. It's a very in-depth, deep dive into the history of the West Bank. Um, so I would highly recommend
Definitely.
people go watch it if you'd like to educate yourself. So I know
True.
Hussein tried to watch it, but it was blocked in India. So if it's
Yeah.
blocked in your country and you have a VPN, try using a VPN. So,
Yeah. True.
but
Yeah. When I was trying to watch it on VPN, but I couldn't as I was traveling. So very next day, I'll watch it, and most probably, if we could have a discussion over this with a pro-Israel and anti-Israel guy, which we can bring on, and we have a debate over that, that will
yeah.
be much useful. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I have reached out to our affiliate, the president of the Israeli Atheist. I sent him the link. I said, would you be willing to come on
Mm.
and discuss this? What's going on in the West Bank with us? He said, sure, but he's off to Europe. So when he gets back sometime in August, we will then have a discussion with Israelis who are
Definitely.
there on the ground, including our affiliate, to discuss and give us his impression of what he sees going there on the ground. So that will be coming up
Right.
at some point in August when he's back from his trip.
Great.
Okay. Anything
So
else from your side?
no, it's done
No?
from here.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope it was informative for you, and we
Yes.
will see everybody again in seven
I think
days. So,
I think we have gained a few persistent viewers for our channel. So I think if we keep on doing this in a systematic manner, and it's almost the seventh episode that we are doing now.
yeah.
So congratulations to us, seventh consecutive episodes.
Yeah. Well, seven for you. I had to miss one when I was out with COVID. So,
Okay.
oh. But
Yeah. So
again,
I'm
I
more
sent you my list of news to do those. So, yeah.
okay. Great.
Yeah.
So
Great.
we'll see you
Okay.
on 8th.
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.